Hello and welcome to all of you in this edition of Public Forum. I am Anurag Punecha with you. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has come to India on official visit. Erdogan has come to India on two-day visit. This is his first official visit as a president. He came early in 2008 as well, but as the Prime Minister of the Turkey. Now, as president, all set to change Turkey, as he says, Erdogan is set to be one of the most powerful head of Turkey, 94-year-old modern history of Turkey. After getting 16 amendment of the constitution done on 16 April this year, he has become more powerful as president. Some say him as an elected dictator. The changes, one of the most radical political reforms since the Turkish Republic was established in 1923, could see Erdogan remain in power until 2029. He has survived a coup in July last year. He launched a broad sweeping crackdown against followers of his former ally, Islamic cleric Fethullah Gulen, who lives in the United States. The crackdown saw roughly 100,000 people lose their jobs, including judges, lawyers, teachers, journalists, military officers and police. And more than 40,000 people have been arrested and jailed, including pro-Kurdish lawmakers. Media outlets are also stifled. Hundreds of non-government organizations and news outlets have also been shut down. On the other hand, he has been seen to have assured stability and economic prosperity of Turkey, building roads, schools, hospitals and airports, transforming what had been the nation's backwaters until he took over. Erdogan served 3 consecutive terms as a prime minister, as head of his Islamic-rooted Justice and Development Party, before becoming Turkey's first directly elected president in 2014. Erdogan's visit to India is being seen with a caution as well, as Turkey's role in Middle East crisis and domestic politics vis-a-vis Kurds, European Union's role of Muslim brotherhoods have made the President Erdogan not a natural ally to India. Erdogan is putting a lot of emphasis on this visit on trade. Approximately 7 billion trade between India and Turkey is heavily in favor of India, and he wants to change the balance. But he also wants to play a role between India and Pakistan on Kashmir issue. He wants to support India on energy, but also Pakistan as well. So what it signifies, we are going to discuss in this edition of Public Forum. And joining me on this topic, Mr. K.P. Fabian, former ambassador. Welcome in the show, sir. And I've been joined by Dr. Wael Abad, senior journalist and bureau chief of SANA. Welcome to the show. I will be starting with you, Mr. Fabian. How do you see, this advanced visit? What sort of deliverables do you expect from this visit as far as India and Turkey is concerned?
Well, I would put the emphasis on economic deliverables, because President Erdogan has come with his cabinet ministers and 150, business people, and Turkey having sort of spoiled its copybook with the European Union. Because there is no question of Turkey's entering the European Union in the near future. I don't want to rule it out.
54 years have been passed, approximately.
Yeah, not only that, after the recent failed coup and then the referendum, which many people in Europe see as something flawed, right or wrong, but they see it as flawed. You know? So Turkey's chances of joining the European Union are distant. So it will be in Turkey's interest to cultivate further with other major economic powers, and India, of course, comes there. And as you said, the bilateral trade is running at the level of
6.4, approximately 7 billion.
But it is in favor of India, but it has been in favor of India for the last so many years. But Turkey is now making serious efforts to sort of make it less unbalanced, and India is also sort of not standing in the way. After all, India would like to have more trade, and if it is Turkey's wish to have it more balanced, so be it. India has no problem there. So I think that is one major thing. And if you notice, the Prime Minister in his address at the Business Forum listed a number of areas where Turkey can step in: infrastructure, metro railway, energy. He listed so many. And as of now, our companies are active in Turkey, about say 120. ONGC Videsh has invested not only in exploration but also in the pipeline. So India is active, and Turkey wants to be more active. So I think that will be the main thing. But secondly, I think this is an opportunity for us to find out from Turkey what its thinking is about, say, Syria. What is happening in Syria. After all, Turkey is a neighbor. Turkey is engaged politically and militarily. As you know, there has been a sort of attack on the
two major cities of Turkey as well,
yes.
Ankara and the Istanbul's airport.
That's correct. But apart from that, Turkey is engaged militarily in Syria.
Syria, that's right.
You see, now, I mean, it will be of interest to India. How does Turkey look at what is happening in
probably
Syria?
if you are, as you are saying that he is not getting the good signals as far as the European Union is concerned, he sees that chances are very remote into getting to European. That's why he is more emphasizing on the looking east policy, and the India can be the one natural partner as far as the trade is concerned.
Trade is concerned. And then, of course, we should also find out from Turkey what his thinking is about Iraq.
Okay.
You know, so these are questions, you know, where for us to find out what Turkey's thinking is. And Turkey, as I said, is very active in the region with results which are positive or negative is something debatable, but active.
Okay. Dr. Awad, how do you see it? I mean, I was going through some of the media reports in Pakistan. There is quite a flutter in Pakistan media as well that how come his most trusted ally, I mean, Turkey or the Erdogan is going to India to have a kind of a trade relations. How do you see that kind of deliverables do you expect really as far as the trade is concerned, as far as the other matters concerned?
Well, if Erdogan had visited India 2 decades ago as a president, I would have taken it otherwise. I think he is visiting India as a part of his looking east policy is one of the major issues for him, because of he having from a zero problem with neighbor to problem with all the neighbors. So therefore it's European Union, it is the Iraq, it is Syria, it is even Iran, even Russia now. It's slightly restrained, but despite the fact that maybe the NATO is trying to appease him because of they don't want him to go in the hand of the Russian for other regional issues and wider perspective of the future conflict in the region. But I think he is looking at India for investment. He's looking at India for the infrastructures. He's looking at India as a tourist destination for Turkey, as Indians should go to Turkey, and also wanted to see that there will be fostering of relation between the two countries, because he is a new sultan of the region. He is the new Erdogan, the new Turkish. He looks at himself bigger than beyond the border of Turkey. So he sees himself as a new emerging Islamic leader. He's an ideologist. He's an Islamist. He has his own agenda. He might be trying to be more pragmatic in his approach toward India, but we should not forget that he has a good relation with Pakistan, and Pakistani may do understand his position, and he has already made it very vocal in many occasions that he will support a bilateral discussion on Jammu and Kashmir in accordance with the United Nations Security Council resolution, which is apart from the Shimla agreement, which India insists on that. I mean, having he said that, he might try to have to cover up during the interviews giving to the Indian media. I could see from the Indian media. But if I go through the statement today between his statement after the press conference and the Prime Minister of India, I think there was a stress on the fighting terrorism. And if that is the fact, it really, but he never mentioned the word cross-border terrorism, because what we see, you see Pakistan as a cross-border terrorism. We in Syria see Turkey as a country sponsoring terrorism in Syria. So if you wanted to fight terrorism, you have to identify, you have to destroy the infrastructure, and Turkey is a culprit of what is happening in Syria. It's not a victim of what. It is a backfire of its own policy in the region by supporting terrorism in Syria, and Iraq has backfired on it. India, on the other hand, is the opposite. But both are nationalist leaders. Both are shifting from a nationalist to populist. He might face more of difficulties in the future, economical issues. Therefore, he's looking at India as a new destination for his future expansion, because India is not the only country in his trips, by the way. He's visiting many in his Russia in the card, his US in the card, so and China as well. So he sees himself as the emerging new leader in the new international world order.
So do you see that it's a kind of a tightrope walking as far as the relations of the two nations are concerned? India has to be trade very cautiously, very sagaciously?
I think India is being cautious, and India understand Erdogan very well. They understand his policy. They see the gagging of the media, gagging of the oppositions, putting people behind jail. More than 86,000 people has been in jail. There more than 100,000 people have been lost their jobs. He is still fighting. Even if you tweet against him, you will be put behind the bar. So all these issues are not really welcoming in a democratic setup. Whether it is in the moderate, people look at Turkey as a moderate or as a symbolic Islamic country at one hand, and still a party which is an Islamist, yet he's giving a moderate outlook on in a more of a secular, civilized society of ruling, where this does not go well with the Islamists, because Erdogan, he is a sympathizer. He is a very strong vocal in the OIC as well. He speaks something and he do something else. So he is unpredictable, even if you may think that he will be the sole power and executive power in Turkey, but I don't think that's for the long run. But having said that, I would say the long relation and historically relation between India and Turkey should be fostered, whether irrespective who is in power.
Okay, Mr. Fabian, how do you see his initiation or his suggestion that he would be happy to mediate between India and Pakistan as far as the Kashmir is concerned? Not only he said that he is ready to mediate, but he also said that the self-determination should also be applied, though he said indirectly. But by doing so, by saying so, he broke the diplomatic niceties, which is normally associated with the foreign dignitaries.
Well, let me put it this way, that it is an absolute non-starter.
Okay.
There is no question of Turkey, or for that matter, anyone else sort of trying to mediate or trying to take India and Pakistan to a multilateral forum in order to resolve the Kashmir issue. That is for India and Pakistan to talk to each other. We have been talking for a long time. And let's leave it at that. And this sort of offer, well, as you said, normally diplomatically such offers are not made unless you have made sure that they are welcome.
Okay.
No, not normally made. But anyway, he has done it. But I suppose we also have to recognize that we recently had the visit of the Cypriot president, where we mentioned that India stood by the territorial integrity of Cyprus.
Okay.
And as you may recall, in 1974, Turkey invaded northern Cyprus. And so, obviously, he was a little offended.
Okay.
And it is in his nature to give back immediately.
Okay.
So that is why he said it. I don't think we should take it seriously.
So we made him we rubbed him in the wrong way. So he's trying to.
Well, you can say that, but that is our stand as far as Cyprus is concerned.
Okay.
He need not have sort of reacted. But as far as we are concerned, we sort of heard what he had to say on the channel. But we focus on bilateral relations, especially, as I said, economic.
Okay. In cricket, we call it a sludging. So it's a kind of a diplomatic sludging, we can say, about the coming here and saying something which is not, which will not go very nice down the
I don't think
neck.
he understands the real politics, actually. He doesn't understand the real politics. He is more arrogant when he comes to political issues, especially in relation with countries. You see, he knows that the Islamic sympathetic wave has to be built on his own image. So by bringing an issue which has now become a bilateral issue, Shimla agreements, 1972, discussing and said, I can mediate, I can solve a problem. That's not welcome step, whether you like it or no, whether it is from the country itself. So it doesn't show that you have a political maturity in regards of regional or international issues. I would say it is more of a sympathetic wave that he is trying to build up in, because that's how he generates the people around him in his own politics. Even the referendum was not in very much difference in his favor. I mean, despite the fact that there are lots of allegation of fraudulence and flagged stamps that has been pushed in and put to increase his voting gain. But I think Turkey in the next decades is heading for more instability. And
Okay.
I would say that, so he is not sticky wicket that he can talk in that strength, despite the fact you might see him as the emerging superpower or one-man power, but he will not be the only power in Turkey actually for some time to come, because there is lots of resentment, there are lots of instability, social unrest. There will be more issues to tackle with rather than he go international to speak of solving other problems. First, he has to fix his house in order.
Okay, okay. And one more thing, that he also fears about the kind of suspect that the Fethullah Gulen's organization is making inroads in India through some what do you call it, educational institutions. See, he also fears about it, and he wants to sensitize India on this.
Well, it is the tone in his truth, because what Erdogan feared from Fethullah Gulen, who was his guru at one time.
One-time guru, and
now he is his
enemy.
opponent. So, in fact, if you look at the property and how much he confiscated, how much money he took out of Fethullah Gulen in Turkey itself, you can realize how much money is involved. After all, it's an interest. It's a conflict of interest. It's nothing to do. The ideology is the same between both the person. There is nothing different between both of them. Are Islamists. Both of them have their ideology to support. But Erdogan trying to show that he is the culprit behind the coup, where everybody knows who are behind the coup, who started this false flag in Turkey, how he took it to the full advantage, whether well, we discussed it last time, whether it was the coup succeeded, what would have happened, and whether it has failed, the worst has happened.
Right, that's right. How do you see this kind of fear that the Fethullah Gulen's organization is making inroads in India, and then he wants to sensitize the nation? How do you find this kind of so-called fear?
The first thing to understand is that Erdogan is very sensitive, if I may say so, oversensitive about Fethullah Gulen, who is in the United States.
That's right.
And he used fairly strong language, if not intemperate language, even with the United States.
That's right.
You better hand him back to me, otherwise, you know, that sort of thing. Now, as far as India is concerned, I don't have precise information, but I believe there may be some, you know, this is a part of the Sufi movement, you know, sort of, you know, and they may have some educational institutions, but I don't think they are doing anything in India which hurts Turkey.
That's right. Huh?
You know, Turkey's national interest is in no way harmed. But as I said, he is very sensitive, oversensitive about Gulen, who is, you know, in his almost 75, sitting there in Pennsylvania. I don't think he is sort of engaged in sort of, you know, triggering coups and all that. So
okay. One more thing, as both the leaders talked about fighting against terrorism, can India and Turkey become really a good ally in terms of sharing intelligence and coming close and doing this? Do you see any possibility, or this is a mere words and they are mere rhetorics?
No, I think there are lots of things to do if we really wanted to fight terrorism, because see, Turkey has a strong influence in Iraq, has a strong influence in Syria, has a strong influence among the Islamist movement all over the region. It has also in Afghanistan. On Uzbekistan, they have the Turk angle. And even inside China, he had lots of these Uyghur province, the Islamic province in Xinjiang in China, where they have shifted more than 20,000 people from that region, and he put them in Syrian border, and he gave them the Turkestan party, which is part of the former Turk that they have been in. So he has that kind of an ambition of the Ottoman Empire in his head if he wanted to influence. So if he's serious about fighting terrorism, I'm sure he can play a major card. But I don't think, you know, no one can beat his own baby. So that is how one should look at it from that angle. You may tap him, you may slack him, but you will never eradicate it. So it's your own baby. So he is influenced, he has both hands indulge, both his hand and feet are soaked with the blood of these innocent people in Syria and in Iraq, and we understand. So India is cautious in this regard. If he is really wanted to fight, address first what is terrorism, because the infrastructure of terrorism is the main cause of terrorism. Cross-border terrorism is the main cause, whether it's in India, whether it's in Syria or in Iraq. I think he understands it very well. He might talk for the sake of the public, and we could see for public opinion to build up something. But everybody, even the European, are doubting his move, doubting his way of fighting, because he's blackmailing them. He's telling you, don't give me the free entry into Europe, I will open the flux of refugees to you. So he's using the Syrian refugees as a black stick, you know, taking the revenge of the European on his hand. So I think he is Somehow, I don't find him very pragmatic, very practical in fighting terrorism. But if India can influence him, put pressure more on him economically in the future, he might succumb to some pressure and at least reduce the influence of reviving of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan or trying to divide Afghanistan into favoring those countries, which is having the Turkish minority.
Do you agree with him? Or my second question would be like how India can benefit between this sort of friendship, the newfound friendship which both the nations are trying. What India is getting in this kind of a so-called bonhomie between the two nations?
Well, we have to recognize the importance of Turkey geopolitically. Look at its location. Partly in Asia and partly in Europe.
Partly in Europe.
And if it had joined the European Union, it would have been the biggest country, population-wise and otherwise. So Turkey, its geopolitical location and its recent history is of great importance. And it is one of the G20, 17th economy, you know, and population of 80 million, and GDP will be about $880 billion. Dollars, you know, sort of thing. So Turkey is important, and as far as we are concerned, we are keen to develop further. And we have a very old relationship with Turkey. I mean, even if you go back, diplomatic relations, of course, interrupted since then. It goes back to, say, 1482, even before the Mughal scale. So what I'm trying to say is that historically and culturally, India and Turkey have been interacting with each other. And so Turkey is very important. And as I said earlier, for us, economical relations are come at the top. And as regards political relations, it will be good for us to exchange views with Turkey, because Turkey is an important actor. We may or may not agree with all that it does. That's a different matter. But it is an important actor in the region.
I think we can add one more point here. If India wanted to test Turkey credibility in fighting terrorism, should ask about the missing 39 Indian in Mosul. Because during the Mosul invasion or the creation of IS in that region, they have taken hostages of 49 members of the consulate of Turkey. And it was the only team which has been released by IS fully dressed up, shaved, dressed, not even a scratch on them, and they were released. And we understand what was the political message behind it. If Turkey is seriously fighting terrorism, India should ask Erdogan where about the fate of those missing Indians.
That can be the testing point.
That could be the testing point if you wanted to find out these things.
Well, that's a point. That's a very valid point.
Let me put it this way. There was a time when Erdogan was letting the Islamic State to make use of Turkish territory to get weapons and materials. There was a time, and Islamic State main agents were there on Turkish soil. But that is over. Turkey is now, because Turkey has paid for it. You know, by letting them do that, Turkey has unfortunately paid for it. And now Turkey is wanting to fight the Islamic State. So it's a past.
And what about his role, I mean, Erdogan's role as India's NSG membership? He supports India, but he also supports Pakistan as well. So by putting India in comparison with Pakistan, what signals he wants to send to, let's say, to Pakistan, to other countries?
It is a signal calculated to please Pakistan, because let's look at the question on merits. Pakistan has been the beneficiary of proliferation. Proliferation by China, and India's case is different. India has never proliferated. And what is NSG is all about? NSG is to prevent proliferation of nuclear technology and material and equipment to those countries which you know, do not qualify or which we cannot trust to be sort of making responsible use of atomic energy. So there is no question of equating India and Pakistan. And if he said it, and he has said it, that was a signal to Pakistan we don't have to take it seriously.
Okay, okay. Dr. Awad, how do you see, I mean, the impression that I've got by all his interviews that he has given to all in the Indian media and other channels, that he doesn't want to rub Pakistan in the wrong way by coming to India. He wants to use this, he has used this word Kashmir, now he has this using the NSG. Okay, I support you, but I also support the Pakistan.
Well, that is the rhetoric he always will be using, because he knows the sentiment between the two issues. One is a partner, one is an ally, one is a brother in blood and in religion, so he feels more closer to Pakistan. But if we talk, as Ambassador Fabian saying, in economical terms and in the pressure that he will be facing in the next decade to come because of the economy, he did very well for this economy in his own country. But the future prospect of his economy is very bleak. So I think if that India can use it to the maximum, that they can use it as a cheap bargain on Erdogan to succumb to some kind of a pressure and avoid all this rhetoric, because I think it's more a practical phase now in a diplomatic relation. I mean, people are talking of closer economic ties, other issues will be solved on the table once the things has been resolved. I mean, economically you foster, you improve. I think these are the issues has to be taken. Erdogan can't say anything. He goes tomorrow to Pakistan, he will say the same thing in Pakistan.
Okay.
He's favoring Pakistan. He goes to China, tomorrow he will say something else. So he is trying to say, to maneuver over, to gain what he wants. And that is what makes him very reluctant and very elusive kind of a leader that you really can't trust.
Okay. I mean, in globalization, the money is very everything. I can say the economic development, the economic relations plays a very important role, and it can iron out the natural differences. Do you also see that we can also put aside all our differences between India and Turkey, and then can move forward in terms of cultural relation, in terms of tourism? We can move forward.
Yes, in fact, in the case of tourism, I mean, the number of Indians visiting Turkey has gone up. I believe it was about 132,000 in 2015-16. It was about 70,000 4 years ago. So there is scope for it. And as I said, we should focus on where it is to mutual advantage to cooperate. There may be differences which we can discuss, and we can disagree agreeably.
Okay.
We don't have to, you know, it's, as I said earlier, it is for understanding each other's point of view.
Okay.
Not so much for, you know, sort of concluding, okay, converting each other. That doesn't happen in diplomacy.
So in one word, I can ask you in one word that we have to watch him with a caution, with all the traits and all the rhetoric that he has been making?
Well, I think yes, you have to, but in the long run, India is benefiting from whatever Turkey is offering. It is the tourism sector. We need 50 million tourists in his country. You need the railways, you need the infrastructure. India will gain a lot in these things. That's what I'm saying. It's a big tool for India to use, because people coming all over the world is coming to India. Everybody knows that India is the destination. So he's not an exception. Everybody coming and looking at India for the next decade, that India emerged for the last 15 years as the new destination for investment. The economic growth is very high. Countries are coming forward to India.
Okay.
India is no more carrying the beggar plate. Now those countries are carrying the beggar plate and coming to India.
Okay, so India is a place. As India is emerging as what's the most important economy, so Mr. Erdogan visit is very significant, as he is an important nation. Turkey's location makes it more important, as India has large number of Muslims, so India has to deal it very sagaciously. As Dr. Vailava said, that India is the nation, is the destination where most of the nations are coming. So we have to treat this visit very, very positively. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming here and discussing with us. That's all we have in this edition of Public Forum. Thank you very much for watching us.